what you're looking for. You can't review until you research and eliminate that person. Like, you have to know who really is the best, what you like about that person, and once you have all those done, that's when the actual hiring takes place. Now, this is important too. Before you make the final selection, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. This is a big decision. So say you have 3 strong candidates left, and you think these are very highly qualified people, but you're looking for the best one. So don't be afraid to ask for help, ask for others' opinions, etc., and keep these few things in mind. First of all, this company is your baby. So you have to remember that it's not just trying to fill a job, it's not filling a job position, and then a couple months later you have to look for something else. You're hopefully making a selection that's going to last for a long time. So you want this person to have the same goals, the vision, the attitude, and the morals that altogether their values embody the same thing your company embodies. Something else is you want to be patient. Great things take time. You don't want to just expect, like, oh, I'm looking for this candidate, he's going to walk through the door tomorrow, he's hired, bada bing, bada boom. Like, that's not how it goes. You got to trust the process, and you got to know that everything takes time. If you follow each step, you're going to find the best guy or girl. So next we got investigate. So now this is important too, because you want to look that just because they look great on paper, just because they might look good in an interview, etc., you want to know that this person actually is who they say they are. Sometimes the most innocent people who seem like they're super sharp are actually ex-cons, and they're like party animals, and like you don't know what you're going to get. So you want to actually know who that person is on a personal level. And the last thing you want to keep in mind is investment. Whether it's a 2-week process, 2-month process, etc., this is a huge investment for your company. It's time, it's money, it's effort, it's everything. So if you follow the process correctly and you really put effort into each step, at least that investment might pay off in the long run, which is the ultimate goal. So these are just a couple extra selection methods. I've talked about interviews, I've talked about like physical ability tests. That's more on like a job-to-job basis. If you're entering the military, the army, etc., that's a physical ability test. If you're like going to be like a teacher or something, honestly, in drug tests, because like you can't be like a drug addict and then I'm going to try to teach kids about life lessons, like that just doesn't make sense. So personal experiences, this past summer I worked at ARI. It's a Fortune 100 fleet management company. They're actually ranked number 24 on the best companies to work for list. This company was very highly touted, so I figured the selection process would be pretty difficult, and it really was. So we started out with phone interview, super easy, like 20 minutes. They talked to you, kind of like got to know you, stuff like that. If they approved of you, then you submitted your resume. You had to have meet a couple requirements. You had to have over 3.3 GPA. You had to have over like 50 hours of community service. They liked sports athletes if you were a captain in high school, etc. And then once you got past that phase, then they went into the actual interviews itself. The interviews itself was like a speed dating. It was pretty intense. I actually went through 8 different interviews in this period of about an hour. So you just would go table to table to table. And the last 2 interviews were the CEO and then the president. There was 1,000 candidates, and they selected 16 of us, and I was one of the 16. So it was a great honor, and it was a great experience, and I learned a ton. And that's us up there, the 16. Now just to recap everything. Today I talked about the pre-interviews. I talked about recruiting. I talked about interviews itself, the selection process. And the number one thing I just want to touch on again is be patient. This doesn't just happen overnight. You got to put time and effort into it, and eventually it will pay off. And next we got Derek, and he's about to tear it up on hiring and onboarding.
Alright guys, my name is Derek. I'm gonna tell you guys about hiring and onboarding. One of the best parts about doing interviews is actually getting hired. So I'm gonna go through the processes, what people look for, what you get as you are getting hired, and the whole process with all that. So what we have here is a matrix, and basically each interviewer that you're going to talk to will have something similar to this for each candidate that they have, and they're going to rank you on what attributes you have, and then they end up choosing who they think is the best one. Here, I'm tied. So then you average out everybody that's being interviewed. The interviewers average out their scores, and quite often, more than not, the person that ends up having the highest average usually gets the first opportunity. So, congrats, Connor, you got the opportunity. So, after the matrix and everything, you get the offer, which is what we all are hoping for when we're going for an interview. And you end up getting what's called an offer sheet, which you'll see in a couple of seconds. This is a very crucial part of it, because you see you get to see your start dates, That's when you start talking about your pay, your benefits, all the fun stuff. But it all starts with getting that first. So as I said, the reason these offer sheets are so important is because you see your start date, what department you're being put into, who your supervisor is, your job title. You begin talking about your salary, priority information about the company, and their acceptance policies and what the company is looking for. But the part that I want to talk about most about is negotiating your salary, because that's what we all want. That's the whole reason we're going for the job, is to make money. So you want to try and not overpay the people that you're hiring, but you also don't want them to feel like they're being underpaid or undervalued. So it's very important that the negotiation process goes well for that. Once the salary and everything is negotiated, you either get accepted and you get told the start date, or you can decline and go with another job as you go through the similar process. But we all go through the process. We all want to be offered the acceptance, and then you want to be accepted. After you're accepted, you go through all the paperwork. You sign your tax forms for the company, your liabilities, all that stuff to protect the hiree and the company in case something bad happens. So I'm going to go into my own experience a little bit. Me and my dad, we own our own company. We install floors for a living, and we interview people quite often. And it's a very interesting process. Everybody's different in their own way, so it's very intriguing seeing everybody's different qualifications and everything. But I've also been through the hire, being on the other side of it. This is the restaurant I used to work at. It was very intimidating at first, because this was my first actual interview. So it was very intimidating being the one being asked the questions and being put on the spot. But it was also a very good process because I got to be on the other side for once. Next thing I'm going to talk to you about is onboarding. It's very important that you have an organizational socialization, knowledge, skills, and you have effective members on your team before you get in there. So what does onboarding actually mean? It's part of the orientation process you go through. It does take time, as it is a process. As a company, you want to inform the people that you already have working there who you're bringing on, what their qualifications are, have the paperwork ready for them, and make their first day as best as possible. As I said, it is a process. It takes about 1 to 2 years for good companies. As I said, informing your team is very crucial. You want to be well prepared. You want to have a good orientation. You want to have an integration system. You want to engage them, and you want to have follow-up. As I said a couple of times now, informing your team is very crucial in this. You want to let your workers know the person who is coming. You want to prepare the person that they have training them so that they learn everything effectively. But the most important part is being patient. Everybody is different in how long it takes them to integrate into your company, so be patient. Preparation is also a big key, as I said before. Letting your employees know I can't stress it enough, because nobody wants to not know the person that is coming into their company or their position and helping you out. You want to create a successful setup for them and just make sure everything goes smoothly or as best as possible. How to help the person that is being hired. You want to be polite. Don't look like her, She kind of looks awkward. Be courteous. Be willing to help them and make them feel welcomed. Have lunch with them. People on the first day are usually pretty timid, so you want to come to them. Integration is a big key as well, because you want to manage your first impressions. The person coming in is already timid, so they're known to make impressions of you quickly, and the person that they feel most comfortable with is the person they're going to look to for the most help. Back to my own experience here. When I was working at the restaurant, most people never came up to me at first, so I had to go to them. It was a little intimidating having to go to each person individually myself instead of them coming to me. So that's what helped me be better in my dad's company. I go to the people that we hire, and I make sure that they feel comfortable and they know who I am and that I'm there to help them. So to summarize everything, we went through the planning, interviewing, selection, hiring, and onboarding process. Hopefully you got hired. He's not just being hired, I'm sure he's just retiring, but, and that's the presentation, guys.
You guys all suck.
Yeah, I can grab my thing.